to the Wellness Covenant with Donna, where we're learning something deeper than trends and quick fixes. Because the key to maintaining consistent, healthy habits is not what most people think. It's not willpower, it's not motivation. Staying on the bandwagon comes from building a strong covenant foundation. A commitment that goes beyond feelings, a promise that anchors your choices. A lifestyle rooted in purpose and intention. So if you're ready to build that strong foundation, to experience a healthier life as you grow older without falling off the bandwagon, then come join me every third Monday.
Well, hello,
Hello.
everybody. Come on in the room. It is
All right.
Covenant Wellness with Donna. And yes, you're like, well, why are you guys on? Well, we're her
We're all in
background.
this together.
We're the background singers, okay? So we are here. We're
Oh, I love it.
to be a part of this conversation. Our wellness coach is here. She's talking about the GLP-1 drug. It is out. People are on it. They're excited about it, but I'm telling you, somebody shout, there is a better way.
There is a better way.
Better way. And so we're excited to have Coach Donna on again with Chef Marlene. Okay,
All
just in
right.
case you need to know how to eat clean, live clean, and cook clean, we have the person online with us. And so we are excited. We're just waiting for some more people just to get on. Let me tag some people. Let them know, hey, we are on. What are you waiting for? So let's tag a few people and let them know that we are on and we're about to get ready. We're getting ready for a good conversation and with some good information that we can take back and we can say, you know what? There is a better way, and it
Yeah.
is with Covenant Wellness. So thank you again, Coach Donna, for coming on, and we are excited about this episode.
Yes, I'm excited too. And as always, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I love this. As you know, I'm passionate about health, particularly, or I'll say especially for the people of God, for the women of God. I mean, because, and you hear me say this a lot, when I look at the church and I see how many sick people are on in the church, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart because I feel like that we as the people of God should be the healthiest people on the planet. I mean, if we are God's daughters, we are God's sons and daughters, his servants, we have his guidebook. Like, oh my goodness, we should be the healthiest people. The problem is that we don't know how. The problem is that we live in a society that hides information from us. The problem is that we have food Babylon out there just saturating us and overloading us with commercials, and you want this, and then they create such an ambiance around, eating and how it makes you feel, because eating, for people in this country, for most of us, eating is emotional. It's emotional. They say some people live to eat and others eat to live. We want to be in the group of eating to live, not living to eat. But unfortunately, we are in a society that promotes living to eat. And I'm very, today we're going to be talking about this whole I want to call it the GLP-1 pandemic. You know what I mean? Because I did not realize that so many people were on these drugs. I mean, I find out seemingly almost every single day that more people are on these drugs. And that's kind of how I got into it and talking about it, because as some of you may have heard me say before, I basically said, I'm not going to touch this. When it comes to weight loss, people understand, but for whatever reasons, they can't seem, they're just always falling off the bandwagon. But so then they come out with the GLP-1 drugs, and all of a sudden, everybody's losing weight, and my purpose is not, I'm not out here to fight the drug companies. That is a losing battle. And I'm not even going to try. And for those of you who may not know me, I actually spent almost 10 years in the pharmaceutical industry, one of those people that helped to build the pharmaceutical industry, basically by the job that I had. I was a research director, and in marketing research, pharmaceutical companies were our clients. And I spent almost 10 years traveling the US and Europe conducting studies to help pharmaceutical companies market their drugs. And so during that process, I had to learn a lot. I had to learn a lot about drugs, about therapeutic areas, talking to a lot of doctors. I mean, it was a lot. And back then, I didn't know half of what I know today. But as my journey continued, I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong, something's wrong. And again, some of you may have heard me say the real turning point, the turning point for me in that industry, because I had to read a lot of clinical trials. This clinical trial comes across my desk, and it's on blood pressure medications. And in this particular clinical trial, the results showed that there was a particular class of blood pressure medication that was causing heart attacks in Black men. I literally almost fell off my chair. Not because the clinical trial was done, because I think that was important research, but because nobody knew about it. Because that drug was and is still on the market, still being given to Black men and other types of people. But it was just, I'm looking at this and I'm like, and I literally started looking around like, how come I'm just reading this? Why wasn't this on the news? You know, you would think, you would think that something like that would be on the news. You would think that doctors would be warning their patients, but I'm like, nobody knows about this. And here's why it was so particularly relevant to me, because this was after my father had passed away suddenly, and the week before he passed away, his doctor changed his blood pressure medication. And I was like, okay. And I literally had to take a deep breath, sit back, and think about, what is it that I'm doing? What industry am I helping to build? And again, I'm not going to fight it. And I'm not even putting down medicine, because we need medicine. But what I want people to understand is that although we need medicine, conventional medicine, although we need pharmaceuticals, please know that it's a business. You have to understand that. Even if you have to take medication, you have to understand that it is a business. And if they were not making money off of it, I don't care how much it would help you, they would not be making it for you. It must make them money. And if it
Mhm.
doesn't make them money, I don't care how much you need it, they are not making it for you. So even when we get into this discussion today, I wanted to give that as a backdrop, because that is what everybody needs to understand. When the doctor gives you a prescription, although you may need it and although it may help you, it is a business. And then when I look at the whole GLP-1 industry, this, like nothing else, demonstrates how much of a business this is. And by the time we are done talking today, you are going to know without a shadow of a doubt that it is a business. But most of all, what I hope you walk away with is that if you are on GLP-1 drugs, or if someone you know or a loved one is on the drugs, or if you are thinking about going on the drugs, or if your doctor has recommended it, whatever the situation may be, I just want you to be equipped to make an informed decision about whether or not you want to take it. That's what this is about. Because, and again, I'm not trying to convince people to do this or to do that. I never tried to do that. But what I want to do is equip you to be an active participant in the decisions regarding your health. And when doctors hide information from you, they are robbing you of being able to be that informed participant in your health. So that's the backdrop of this. And so before I start, since again, I'm not on here by myself. All right. We've got Lorraine and we've got Marlene on here. I just want to ask them a question. And I hope you all are okay if we make this a conversation, because I think when it's a conversation, it's easier to engage with. So I'll even ask, Lorraine and Marlene, when did you start hearing about the GLP-1 drugs, and what has been your experience with it, if anything?
Well, for me, I first I didn't know it was called GLP-1. Only thing I knew about was Ozempic
Yes, that's
because
what a
of
lot.
the
Yeah.
fact that being a diabetic, my doctor prescribed it, and it was working well with my diabetes. I'm just that one that wasn't losing the weight. So, but it was keeping my numbers really, really good. Um, but then it was hard to get it as a diabetic, that it was helping me because everyone was using it for weight loss. So when I needed it, I couldn't get it. And I'm like, what's going on? Like this is helping me with my numbers. Not
Mm-hmm.
losing weight, I'm not taking it, but because they put it out there for if you want to lose weight quick or whatever it is, like take this. But it was keeping it from the people that actually needed it for other things, for probably what it was created for. Again, I don't know the original intent of creating Ozempic, but then now it's like, pick one, anyone. There's so many out here. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer that question. So, it was originally the first indication for these drugs were for diabetes, type 2 diabetes. When they first came to the market, that's what they were for. But then seeing all of the other effects, or even in some cases benefits that the drugs were having, that's when I think weight loss was the second one, and once it hit weight loss, that's when it exploded. Because there's so many people that want to lose weight but are unable. And there are different reasons for that. There are different reasons why some people lose weight and some people don't. Some, it's actually your lifestyle choices. And for some people, it may be metabolic things that are going on in the body. So it's different for everybody, but it's type 2 diabetes, weight loss. It's also prescribed for cardiovascular and again, metabolic indications, kidney disease and liver disease. Because and I'm going to explain this so everybody understands even what GLP-1 is. Because, like you said, and I didn't even think about that, there's a lot of people that may not even be familiar with the term GLP-1. All they know is Ozempic. It's kind of like, Xerox. People say, oh, can you make a Xerox copy of this? Or Q-tip. It's really a cotton swab. It's kind of like Ozempic is kind of like the brand, for GLP-1, but there's a lot of different brands out there. But yeah, and that's a good point. And I know even for some people, when you said you can't get it, was it because now? Well, explain to me, why was it hard for you to get?
It was hard to get because it was such a demand for it
So
that
it was like
they wasn't
out of
making it
stock.
out of stock. And
Okay.
then after a while, when my doctor would prescribe a 3 months, I couldn't get it. You could only get a month at a time, which was again costing you more. So,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, it was just an issue. So for me, it was helping me with my numbers. But I
Mm-hmm.
know other people that started taking it for weight loss and had some side effects that I did not experience because they didn't have that issue, right?
Mhm.
So if it was
Gotcha.
created for one thing and now you realize you can lose weight with it, but if you're not a type 2 diabetic, you're injecting yourself with something, and what is it doing to you?
Yeah. That's also a really good point, because that's the other thing, working in the pharmaceutical industry and looking at different drugs and looking at the clinical trials, when they start seeing, oh, well, it does this. Like I'll give you a great example. So for people with diabetes, no, yeah, people with diabetes, a lot of times they are also recommending blood pressure medicine, even though they have no issues with their blood pressure at all.
Mm.
The reason is because they found that some blood pressure medications have kidney protective benefits to it. So they're like, okay, so if you're a diabetic, which makes you more prone to kidney disease down the line, if you start taking this blood pressure medicine, then that'll preserve your kidneys, but you don't have any problems with blood pressure.
Right.
That's a perfect example. It's a business. It's one more way. It's another revenue stream. Like instead of having one indication, oh well, now we can do it for weight loss. Now we can do it to protect your kidneys. Now we can do it to protect your liver. Like all of these things,
Yeah.
it's a business. It's a business. And I'm glad you didn't experience any side effects because how I first
Mhm.
came to really
So
get
I
into
don't think
this.
I have.
Oh, there's the good point. Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
let me just say why. Because um sometimes you don't realize stuff can happen, right? But you don't, one and one is not two yet because you didn't realize that
That's
this thing
right.
whatever you was taking is really the reason why maybe my hair started not acting, my hair started coming out and
It,
started thinning. Like you just don't know because you don't connect it to until you sit on a platform like this and someone with the knowledge begins to tell you. Because with anything you see on TV, they go through it, and all of a sudden at the end, you hear this blurb, and the blurb is so fast they almost give you whiplash because they really don't want you to hear it, right? It's like
exactly.
buying a car and then you sign your agreement, but who's going to read all the fine print, right? And so
Exactly.
and that's what they want us to do. They don't want to tell us the truth, even if the truth is there. They make it so that we won't even read it because we trust them more.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That is so true. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because a lot of people will say, "Oh, this didn't affect me. This didn't affect me." Like you said, that you know of or not yet because things are going on in the body that you may not even feel. You may not even feel and then all of a sudden it's there. All of a sudden it's there. Marlene, what has been your experience or connection or with Ozempic or GLP-1?
Well, this is going to be sound really, really funny, but if any of you know my husband, every time the commercial would come on, he would sing it. Oh, 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 something, it got to be the joke in the house. That's how I found out about Ozempic. But the crazy thing about it, like Lorraine said, if you can look real quickly at the side effects, and I'm like, well, who wants all of that? I might as well
Exactly.
just not take anything because if I take this, then I'm going to have these problems, the major problems. And when you start naming stuff like kidney failure and possible death, or I'm not saying that Ozempic, but those are some of the labels.
Yeah,
And then we got Wegovy, and they dancing all around. That's how I knew. And then I found out that there was a person that actually called me and said, the doctor wants me to take Ozempic. And I'm like, warning, 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 warning. Like, I'm getting ready to age myself, like Lost in Space. Danger,
Yes.
danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger. He says, I'm
Danger,
like,
danger.
danger, 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 Will Robinson. And I'm like, no, no, please, 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 please.
yeah,
Um, don't. I can't tell you what to do, but my suggestion is not to do that. Make sure you read and do your research because
Yes.
yes, do your
Yes.
research with anything,
With
you know,
anything.
because what
Yes.
we say, um, even though it is beneficial and it is proven, everybody needs to do your research, whether it's medication, whether it's food, whether it's whatever. Do your own research
Yeah.
because human error happens. And then you have to go
All the time.
backtrack and say, oh my goodness, I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't mean this, that, and the third. So that's how I did, and then the
You say
stars
what?
on the stars that people that have platform, the
Oh,
stars.
yes, yes, yes. The celebrities, yes.
When you look at them from, their before and their after, a lot of them were on it, and they would proudly say, "Oh,
Yes,
I'm on Ozempic, or I'm on Wegovy, or I'm on the other thing." But that's how I found out about it. And personally, like you said, medication is good in its place, but if you can do something that's healthier without all the side effects,
yes,
then I'm all in. And like Lorraine said, you never know what's happening in your body.
yes,
You
yes,
just never know what it's causing. And that was just such a good point, because you think, oh, I don't feel any way. I feel fine. I'm getting thinner. I'm looking good. My
In
clothes
a
look
beach
good.
body.
Until you get ready to comb your hair and it's falling out and you don't
yeah,
know why,
Right,
exactly.
or
absolutely.
some other side effects that are really, really detrimental to your health.
Yeah, and
So
we're going to
that's how
talk
I
about
found out
those.
about it.
Yeah, and that was my first. Again, I got a phone call saying, Donna, I was on GLP-1 and I had to stop because uh Lorraine mentioned, people are having a hard time getting it. The call that I got was that the insurance stopped paying for it. And so instead of them paying like 30 some dollars a month, they were paying they had to pay like 700 a month, and they're like, I can't afford to do this anymore. And then I got a call just this week where another woman told me, well, yeah, it became, you couldn't get it or it was too expensive. So then pharmacies are now making their own compounds. Okay, which I let her know. People don't know this. The compounding pharmacies that are doing it, they're not FDA approved, okay? And so you don't
Mhm.
always know what you're getting. It's not illegal, but you don't know what you're getting, and then it just becomes like a racket. But again, it's a business, and that's why this whole GLP-1 craze, you can very easily see that it's a business because it's people are going nuts trying to get it. It's like literal. But let's talk about what GLP-1 is, because I really think that in order to make an informed decision about whether you're going to go on the drugs or whether you're going to do something else, you need to understand what it is. So, GLP-1 is a natural hormone in our bodies. All right. The drugs, the medicine that you get is not GLP-1, and it doesn't even mimic the GLP-1 hormone that we have. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. A lot of people think that drugs all the time are trying to mimic something in the body. Sometimes they are, sometimes they don't. This is one, the description out there says, oh, this just mimics the hormone. It doesn't. All right. And I'll explain why. But again, GLP-1 is a natural hormone in our body. And what it does, it's when we eat, all right, about 10 to 15 minutes after we start eating, our body releases GLP-1. This is something that God made. This is something that's natural in our bodies that God made. Our body releases it, and it helps us during the digestive process. It signals our pancreas to release insulin, okay, particularly depending on what you're eating, when glucose levels are high. So if our body releases that insulin, so that insulin can get that glucose out of the bloodstream and into our muscle tissue. That is really, really important for digestion, for overall metabolism, and to keep you healthy. That's what our natural GLP-1 does. It also slows down our digestion after we start eating so that you don't keep eating like you're starving. So your brain will start telling you, slow down. You're not starving. You're getting full. Don't stretch the stomach out of proportion. That is something that God gave us when He made us fearfully and wonderfully. All right. It also dampens the reward pathways in our brain. And what that is, our addiction pathways in our brain. When we eat something like, like you can't eat one chip. Okay. Because when you eat one chip, it hits our dopamine receptors in our brain, and we get like this high, and we got to eat another chip and another chip and another chip. So our GLP-1 kind of dampens that and says, come on now, you don't need to eat the whole bag, you know, slow down. That's what God gave us to help keep us healthy. Now, here's the thing. When the GLP-1 hormone is released in our body, it only stays active for 1 to 3 minutes. That's it. That is the way God designed our bodies. And this is the biggest difference between our natural GLP-1 and what these drugs do. So these drugs stay in your body in an active state for on average for 1 to 2 weeks. But now I hear I saw a commercial just the other day, I think it was on YouTube or something, where now you can get it where it can last a whole month. All right. Now, I want you all to think about this. If God wanted to boost our natural GLP hormone, but said after 3 minutes, you gotta calm down. It's like clear it out of the body. It's cleared out through our kidneys. All right. Now I will say this: after we finish eating, about an hour or so after we finish eating, we'll get another GLP-1 boost, and then it's out of your system for one after 1 to 3 minutes. So now you're taking a drug, and it's in your system for a month. That alone should tell you that something's wrong with that. That is going to cause the body to be out of balance because that it's not natural. So it's going to be out of balance, and that's going to cause side effects and other things. Now let me just demonstrate. Let me see if I have something here. Like the big difference. I have an essential oil bottle, and I have a thing of tissues, and I have some lip balm. We'll use this. So let's say we have these in our bodies, we have GLP-1 receptors. So when the GLP-1 is released, it basically, this is it, I'm going to use this essential oil bottle. It attaches to the receptor. And once it attaches to the receptor, it starts to do its thing. Okay. It signals the pancreas, it signals the brain, it signals the stomach, all the things. And it does what God designed it to do. And that's the receptor, the GLP-1 hormone. All right, so now this is what pharmaceutical companies have done. This does not, actually, let me make it more dramatic. I'm gonna use a hair clip, okay? So this hair clip looks nothing like this essential oil bottle, okay? So this is our natural GLP. This is the drug. This is the drug, and what it does is it actually stimulates the receptor. You see, it looks nothing like this. Nothing like it. So it's not even mimicking what this is. It's just a pure chemical that was designed to do this. Designed to stimulate this receptor from anywhere now from 1 to 2 to 4 weeks. And it's just constantly stimulating this receptor when God designed our natural GLP-1 to attach, and after 3 minutes, gone. All right. That's the way our body's supposed to work. So if it's doing this, already you're going to have side effects. You're going to have side effects whether you realize it or not. And here's the thing. So I liken this to and again, as Lorraine mentioned, when you're taking the GLP-1 drugs, sometimes you experience all of the positive benefits. She said that it helped with her numbers. It does what it's supposed to do. But over time, you're doing this, over time, something else is going to happen. Okay. Body was not designed to work that way. So our natural GLP-1 does what it does, as I mentioned, it reduces hunger, it calms what they call food noise in our brain. The other thing that it does, which is amazing, and again, this is what God designed, it helps us burn calories. It helps us burn fat. All right. It helps the muscles uptake the insulin to get the glucose out of our heart, out of our bloodstream. All right. It even helps our heart in lowering blood pressure. So God designed this for many, many wonderful things. And when the GLP-1 drugs are put in our system and they start doing this, you get some of the same effects that God designed it to be, because it's stimulating the GLP-1 receptor, okay? But what's critical here is the amount of time that it's in your body and the fact that it's a chemical. It's a chemical and it looks nothing like what God created. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. This is why this is dangerous. So, what are some of the side effects that you can experience? You can, I guess the most common ones are the gastrointestinal side effects like vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, um, sometimes the appetite suppression. I know I had one woman call me. She was on one of the GLP-1 drugs, and she said she literally had no desire to eat at all. Like she could go the whole day without eating because the appetite suppression was so strong. All right. All of these side effects are problematic. Now, here's another thing that I've heard, and that when I heard this, I was so shocked I couldn't believe it. And that is for some people, in terms of slowing down the emptying of food in the stomach and slowing down your digestion, okay, it is really healthy. We should be having a bowel movement at least once a day, if not three, four times a day. When you are on the GLP-1 drugs, for some people, they are not having a bowel movement for weeks at a time. I cannot even tell you how much how dangerous that is for your body to keep all of that toxic waste in your system for weeks at a time. That is not healthy. And again, just knowing that information, I'm not going to go into all of the details of why, but believe me, it's not healthy, and that's not the way God designed our body to work. Another thing that it can cause is one of the side effects is pancreatitis. Pancreas pancreatitis. Hard, it's a tongue twister. Pancreatitis, which is basically inflammation of the pancreas. It can cause gallbladder disease. Now, so those are some of the main average ones, all right, that you hear about. I'm about to give you two side effects that you don't often hear about, okay? And these are the ones to me that are a game changer. And after I talk about this, what I'm about to tell you, if someone told me this, I wouldn't need to hear anything else. I wouldn't need to hear anything else. But before I go on, Lorraine and Marlene, is there anything you want to ask me or interject before I go on?
Not that I can think of right now. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right, so let's talk about one of the main things that happens when this is in your body instead of this, is that the weight that you lose is muscle weight. Up like 50, up to 40, 50% is muscle weight. I can't tell you how dangerous that is. Okay, so when you start losing muscle mass, one of the things right away that it causes, it's you start to age faster immediately. Now, us women, we know like that's one of the main things we're trying to prevent. Okay, so when we get on this drug and the doctor's not telling us this is going to make you age faster, yes, you may lose weight, but then you age faster. And if you think about it, some of these people that are on these GLP-1 drugs, that they look kind of different. Like I didn't even know what Ozempic face was. It wasn't until we started the women's group where we were testing this natural alternative that I'll tell you about as well, where somebody mentioned, well, yeah, there's some people get Ozempic face. And I'm like, what is that? And then as I started to look into that and look into what people actually look like when they start losing this weight, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're losing muscle mass. They're losing muscle mass throughout their body. That not only makes you look different, it's so unhealthy because, again, as your body loses muscle mass, it causes you to age and it causes the body to be out of balance, which can cause illness. Now, one thing I'm very familiar with, and some of you may be as well, if you've had loved ones that have had cancer, in as you're progressing through the stages of cancer, once you get to like stage 4 and beyond, there's something that can happen called muscle wasting. Okay, and that is rapid muscle loss. And when you get into that muscle wasting state, you're dying. You're dying. You're literally dying. So when you start losing muscle mass and you're not, and you don't have a terminal disease, you are accelerating the aging process, which, if you really think about it, is the dying process. Because as we get older, we're slowly dying. We want to keep it off as much as possible, but all of that is being accelerated when you lose muscle. And again, if you think about how the body's supposed to work, even with the GLP, basically stimulating the pancreas to release insulin and then pull that glucose into your muscle tissue. Now you're losing muscle tissue. So it's causing just a myriad of other problems. And here's the thing, what people don't realize, a lot of the people that when they get off of the GLP-1 drugs and they start gaining weight back, they're not gaining the muscle back. You don't gain the muscle back. That muscle is gone. What you gain back is fat. All right. So let's say you lose 100 pounds on the GLP-1 drug, and say 50 pounds, you lose 50 pounds of fat and 50 pounds of muscle. You go off the drug, and most people that go off the drug, they gain the weight right back. So when you gain that 100 pounds back, you're not going to gain back 50 pounds of muscle and 50 pounds of fat. You're going to gain back 100 pounds of fat. Okay, that's going to increase your cardiovascular risk. It's going to shoot it completely through the roof. And Lorraine and Marlene, I don't know if you remember when we were, because for those of you that don't know, I have a group of women where we're actually testing a natural alternative to these GLP-1 drugs. And I remember some of the women in that group have been on the drugs that are off. And they said when they started gaining weight back, they could actually feel like it was different. They didn't realize they had lost the muscle mass and was only gaining back fat, but they all were saying like, it was just weird. I just felt different. Like the weight felt different than the weight that I lost. I don't know if either of you remember that.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. And so that's a real thing, and that's something to think about, because again, it's not about just the weight and how you look. It's about what's going on in the body. What's going on in the body. So the final, oh, and well, before I give you the final side effect, because we talked in the beginning, things like hair loss. Okay. The first woman that called me about it called me because she had to stop taking it and all her hair fell out. She was like, "Can you please help me?" And I was like, "All your hair fell out, really?" And so then I started hearing more and more stories about that. But it can cause problems with your eyes. It can cause mental health issues. Okay, that's another thing. As we get older, we're trying to preserve our mental health as much as possible. And sometimes when I give in-person talks, I'll ask the audience, I'm like, if you had a choice as you're getting older where you could only preserve either your physical health or your mental health, which one would you want to preserve the most? 100% of the time, everybody says mental health. Because if you lose your mental health, I don't care how healthy your body is, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So most people want to preserve their mental health. And here we have a drug that can negatively impact your mental health. And as I mentioned before, also it can impact your eyes, your kidneys. There are a lot of things that it can impact. But here's the one thing, when I saw this, it was like I could pack up and go home after this. And what makes me upset about this is because every person that I asked that's on this drug, that I said to them, "Did your doctor tell you this?" Not one person said yes, that their doctor told them about this side effect. All of the GLP-1 drugs on the market have an FDA black box warning. Okay. If you don't know what that is, an FDA black box warning is the highest, the strongest safety warning that the FDA can put out. Now, let's think about this. There are so many drugs on the market that do not have an FDA black box warning that we know is killing us. We know it. The side effects are so horrible. We know it. And they don't even have a black box warning. The GLP-1 drugs, they all have a black box warning for thyroid tumors. They can develop into thyroid cancer. That would be all that I need to hear. Like I'm just like, okay, I'll do something else. I'll fast, whatever. I mean, and to me, what makes me upset is the fact that the doctors are not telling their patients. And if you are watching this video today, if you are on the GLP-1 drug, please go ask your doctor, is there a black box warning for thyroid tumors? Okay. And if they say yes, ask them, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? And if they say no, say, thank you very much. I will never see you again in my life. Because then they're lying to you. Then they're lying to you. All right. So this is why I do what I do, because I think it is so, so important for us to understand what it is that we're taking, why we're taking it, and the potential side effects or adverse events. Again, this is not a talk against medicine. This is a talk to make you an active part of your own health. Okay, not putting your health care solely in the hands of a person or a system. You need to take charge, but you can't do that fully if you don't have all the information. So when I find out that doctors aren't giving the information that they need to be given, then if I know about it, I'm going to try to let you know, because that is not fair. And God's people should not be, and nobody should be subjected to that. But especially God's people, no, we're not settling for that. We are not settling for that. So that is the foundation of what GLP-1 drugs are all about. And I don't know if anyone's on live. If you have any questions, if they're putting them in the comments, please let me know if there are any questions that I can actually answer live. And while they're looking, I want to talk about an alternative. There's always an alternative.
Yeah.
There's always an alternative. I sincerely believe, I firmly believe that God has given us everything we need to be well. Everything we need. Now, sometimes things are going to happen where we need medicine for support because we don't know about the natural thing, or something has happened, like let's say in type 1 diabetes. In type 1 diabetes, where your pancreas has completely stopped working, you need to take insulin. If you don't take insulin, your life is going to be very short, probably 24 hours, maybe. But you need to take insulin. So again, and again, to me, for me, like the best medicine is prevention. That's why I think education is so important. So if I can prevent one person from getting thyroid cancer because they made a better decision for their body, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. All right. Now, I want to talk about a better way. There is a better way, and Lorraine knows about it. Marlene knows about it because we're all testing it with a bunch of other women. So I want to talk about that next.
So we
Lorraine,
do
would you
have
like
a
to say something?
comment.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm not going to say who you can actually see on Facebook who it is. She said, I'm on a GLP-1. Before my doctor prescribed the medication, I have read up on it and we discussed it. So, but
And
she
that's
didn't.
great. I think that's great. I mean, and I would say to everyone, have the conversation with your doctor. Okay. Make sure they are giving you all of the information. And if you then make the decision, I think this is the right thing for me to do, then that is a decision that you have made. What's important to me is that you're making that decision, that not somebody else is making that decision for you and withholding information.
Okay, just now, this is a question.
Okay.
Do these drugs cause thyroid disruption as well?
Okay, so let me answer it this way. I don't, my answer is the way the question is phrased, my answer is I don't know. Now, if I were to just take my knowledge, if the drug can cause a thyroid tumor, that is a disruption. That is a disruption. Thyroids not supposed to have tumors on it. So if there's a tumor growing in your thyroid, there's a reason for that. That means that somewhere there is a disruption, somewhere there is an imbalance in your thyroid that is causing that tumor. Now, what actually that disruption is or what the imbalance is, and it could be different for different people, I
Yes.
don't know. So I can't answer it that way, but if it can cause a thyroid tumor, it can absolutely cause a disruption because a tumor is evidence of a disruption, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And
Okay,
can I
any
say,
yes, go
say
ahead.
this for those that are just joining, and if you missed the beginning of the conversation or discussion, you can just go back and watch the replay so
Yeah.
you can get a fuller understanding of what GLP-1 is and what it does. And that will help you with your discussion with the doctors, and it will help you to share the information out as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Marlene. Yeah, that's really important. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I want to talk about one particular alternative. So, I decided to try out one of the alternatives out there, and there are several I hear. I haven't looked into all of them. I looked into one and I decided to try that one, and I opened it up in my community to a large group of people saying, anybody want to join me in trying this alternative? Let's just see what it does. All right. And I tried it myself. Not because the doctor has never recommended it to me. I just wanted to know how this would make me feel, just in case, so I could basically tell other people, tell other people. And there was the women that tried it in this group, and there was a bunch of us in there, tried it for all different reasons. For some people, it was for blood sugar management, like Lorraine mentioned earlier. For some people, it was for weight loss. For some people, it was for gut health. And actually, that was my curiosity because I wanted to know, gut health is so important. I wanted to know how it would make me feel because of the gut health benefits. So there were people in the group that tried it for different reasons. And this particular system, and I'm not going to name it. See, that's the thing. I'm not going to name it. If you want to know more about it, I'm going to ask you to put a comment, contact me directly. If you're going to put a comment wherever, whatever platform you're watching on, tag me so that I can see it, or you can send me an email. You can send me an email at hello at donnamarie21.com. I'll repeat that. Hello at donnamarie21.com. And then I will send you information on this particular product that we tried. Or if you want to get on the phone with me, when you want to have a phone conversation, email me and I will set up time to talk with you on the phone to see if this might be something that you want to try. Because again, I don't want to make this about a product because there are several products out there, but let's just talk about this one thing. All right. And in this particular system that we tried, it basically, how do I say, addresses our digestive system in three areas. One was our gut health. The other was our fat metabolism. And then the other one was glucose management, which is blood sugar management. Those were the three main areas. And so it was a group of women that we had a control group and an experimental group. I can't talk today. The control group, um, they did not take anything. And then the experimental group, we all tried this particular supplement system. But by the end, and we're actually not quite finished, I'm already getting a lot of the control group. They are coming over to the experimental group because the women in the experimental group are having such great results. And what do I mean by that? Okay. And this is where Lorraine and Marlene, I want you to chime in as well because you've been in this group with me and you have your own experiences with this particular product. People are losing weight. They're losing weight, they're losing the inches. So when it comes to the weight loss, the fat metabolism part of the system, it's there. And if you, most of the GLP-1 drugs on the market, people are getting on it because they want the weight management portion of it or the benefit of it. And this particular product that we tried, we achieved that. Everybody lost weight, everybody lost inches, and so we know that it works. In terms of suppressing the appetite, that absolutely worked. I mean, and for most people, they experience that almost immediately. Almost immediately. I've had a few people that said their glucose numbers, they have type 2 diabetes, and actually we have one that actually has type 1 diabetes as well. They're able to manage their blood sugar levels better, but that's something we are still tracking. And then I've had a number of people say that they can really feel the effects on their gut. And that's really important because our gut is core to our entire body. Like when your gut's healthy, your entire body's going to be healthy. When your gut is not healthy, there's no way the rest of your body's going to be healthy. So in every area that it addressed, everybody is reporting positive results and positive benefits. So I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to let Marlene and Lorraine actually give their perspective of being on this particular product that we tried out and what you remember from what other women told us in the group as well.
Okay, I'll go. Um, I I just want to say the reason why I wanted to try the GLP-1 natural way is not so much that I had um, blood sugar issues or anything of that sort, but I wanted to make sure that because it runs in my family, I wanted to make sure that it didn't elevate. And I wanted to make sure that I could keep it at a level that was um, healthy for my body and also for gut health. Because as you hear the saying, the gut is the new brain. Um, and what we eat is important to myself. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm putting the right things in my body. And so since I'm doing that, and also weight loss. Um, I can say with a glad heart that I've lost inches, I've lost weight, and the appetite suppression is amazing. Where I would want to perhaps eat a plate full of food. Now the plate is no longer a plate; it's a saucer, and I have to remind myself, unlike the drug with the clip, the paper clip, the hair clip that keeps yes, that keeps turning it on and off and on and off. Um, when I've had enough, my brain says you've had enough, and I'm absolutely fine. And I can go out now, which I try to do as much as I can, eat healthier than I did before. So it's making me more conscious of what I eat and how I eat. And even though I eat clean, cook clean, live clean, there is a day or was a day just recently that I broke covenant because I was stressed driving. And I was like, I need something to stay awake. But here's the thing. The GLP-1 between, I want to say this. I don't even have, Donna, do you have? I don't have any more. Oh, I
Of
saw some.
the packets, I took
Yes.
my last. Well, here's an empty one.
Okay, I took my last one today too. That little packet right there. It is called,
It's
I don't even
called the
know what the real name, balance,
balance and
balance and
care.
care. That little packet that I took in the morning was amazing. And I have a video of Lorraine and I on the first day that we tried it and we did it together. And it tastes like pixie sticks. If you all ever had pixie sticks growing up where you had the straw and you open the straw and you just put it in your mouth, yeah, that's what it tastes like. But it actually helped. Um, that helped with along with the three supplements that control your weight. I took my last one around 12:30. That right there, those duos right there are
Yes.
amazing. I mean, amazing. I have to make myself and tell myself, okay, I'm eating because I need to nourish my body. But
That's
it's not
important.
like, oh, just let me eat and eat and eat. That's the suppression is wonderful. I would not say, okay, just because you don't feel like eating, don't eat. Don't do that. Don't do that. But it's really, really helped and energy. It's giving me energy, and it's not that 5 hour energy shot kind of thing or that energy drink with all the stuff that's not good for your body. Everything that's in those two little packets absolutely help my gut. It helps suppress my appetite. I've lost inches. I mean to tell you, I'm able to get in stuff that in my closet that I knew I should have gotten rid of. I'm like, yes, yes. Let's do this. But I'm glad I'm doing it. And I can say this, I had my 6 month wellness check. When you get a certain age, you get a 6 months wellness check for all of those, I won't say the name, that have reached that age. And I went to the doctor. And when I looked at my, um, what is it called, Lorraine? This, not the stats, your progress report. That's what I'm going to call it. There was a significant of difference in my A1C level, um, my blood pressure. I know I don't know if that has any effect on it, but I mean, I was really, 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 really happy. At first, I was like, oh my goodness. Usually when you go to the doctor, my blood pressure elevates and like, oh my goodness. But I can really say, as I've been taking it, it has been very good. And I plan on um, I'm not, today was my last day. I don't know about anybody else, but I want to see how I do without taking it. Because right now, the way I feel like I have it under control. So I'm able to maintain what I eat, what my plate should look like, what I drink and what I consume on a daily basis. So it is amazing. It's not hype, it's for real. I don't have to worry about my hair falling out. I don't have to worry about putting anything toxic in my body. And the women that have been on this um, trial have a lot of them have the same testimony, the
Yes.
same, very
Yes.
same testimony, very same testimony that this works. It's no hype, it's no fluff. It really, really works, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm glad that um, this product is out, and I'm glad not only for myself, for people that are struggling with
Yes.
serious uh, diabetes or other things, that there is a healthier alternative, and it helps your pockets. It keeps
Yes.
the coins in your pocket.
In more ways than one.
Yes.
In more ways than one. And Marlene, I'm so glad you mentioned about it helps you if you're struggling, because that was something that I thought about as well, where, and if those of you that were on with us last month when we were talking about covenant wellness, and I talked about making a covenant and setting boundaries, in our journey to be healthy as it is God's will and his commandment, because he's given us in his word how to be healthy. And if you have not seen that video, I would definitely go back and watch it. But in our journey, because it is in our journey, because most of us didn't know about this before, this type of product helps us in making and keeping our covenants, because it's an extra tool. Because if you're a person where the reward pathways in your brain are firing off all of the time and you have all kinds of cravings and you can't stop eating, even when you make that covenant decision that from now on you're going to live healthy, if your brain cells are saying, but what about the potato chips and the cookies that we eat every single day? What about this? What about that? This is something, it's all natural. It's made from plants, from herbs that came from God's garden that God gave us. And it works I see it as a tool to calm down those reward pathways to help you reach your goal and to help you keep that covenant about your health that you have made with yourself and with God. So I see it as a tool. So thank you for mentioning that as well,
Donna,
Marlene.
can I say one thing?
Hmm.
One thing I want to say about the covenant, even though um, just this past Saturday, even though I broke my covenant, the good thing about it, because I had that covenant with God, with my food, I was able to say, okay, that was this. I knew my next meal or meals, even though it was small what I had, I repented and said, okay, the next meal that I have will not be what I had.
Yes. Yes.
So I want people to know, don't beat yourself up. You know, this absolutely helps you. And once you transform your mind, the renewing of your mind, you can do this. It goes back to I can do all things through Christ that strengthens
Yes.
me. But we have to transform our mind and we have to make a conscious. I say this all the time. Everything that we put in our mouth or our body is a conscious decision. And I made a conscious decision to break covenant. So now my conscious decision was no, I'm not doing that the next meal because I made that covenant.
Right. And I love that. And that's the way it's supposed to work. Thank you so much for sharing that, Marlene.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So everything that Marlene said, I agree with the A1C. And I know the last time we talked, Donna, I had not checked, but I had to go to the ED for something. And, of course, they take your blood work. And, of course, they didn't run my A1C per se, but I was able to see what my actual number was for that day. And because I was taking it, I could just imagine if I wasn't on it, what it would have been. Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love, I'm going to talk about this part of what we did. Um, it wasn't just taking the GLP natural way without making a change in how we ate. One of the things that you're going to see that Tangi put up there is that I know for a fact that even though she's doing what she's doing, she has made a conscious decision to eat differently, right? And that's the thing is um, making better decisions of what we put in our mouth because some people just wanted to lose weight without doing any work. But then once you now get off of it, you haven't changed any habits. So you're going
Exactly.
to pick it back up, right? And so,
Hmm.
but what you taught us is not just to rely on this, but let's make a covenant with God that we will not be consumed with Babylon food, but that we will make a conscious decision that yes, we do fall off the bandwagon, we still do, but it's not, and you also taught us to change our language and stop saying what you can't do. I
Yes.
can't eat that. I can't, but no, I choose not to. When I make a choice, I'm telling you by my choice that you can't change my mind. But when I say I can't, it's almost like it's an invitation for you to try to get me to do what I can't do. But
Yes.
when you make a choice, you just choose. And I think give like Tingy said, I think all of it are tools, absolutely.
Yes.
But what do we do with our tools?
Exactly.
And so I think that was the best thing. And then we did it in community, which actually helped. We did it and was able to communicate with one another, show people what we're. I just made a whole nother vegan ground. the veggie ground, and instead of having meat, I and my husband loves it. And I say he was like, "Can you make some more of that?"
It's
and so
amazing. It's
and so
amazing.
I actually, made something. Probably the pasta was not the best thing, but I was able to use not ground beef, but the veggie ground that I made myself, so I know what's in it, and it tastes so good that we was able to use it in a dish that we would have used meat. And so just making those small changes, and that's another thing. Whether it's you, Donna, or Chef Marlene telling us just to make small changes. Remove that one thing and then
Yes.
remove something else. You don't have to become overwhelmed with this, but still make a decision to change something and stick to it. Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm learning how to cook stuff. And I remember you saying that look in your cabinet sometimes and see what you have. And if you put it in, I'm not going to say what, it will bring you up a recipe for you to create with what you have in your house. And so I've done that and I've made some
Love
wonderful
it.
dishes out of what we have in the house. Arnie said, use what's in the house. So
Yes.
I've learned to use what was in my house to make some delicious desserts,
I'm so proud
some
of
black
her.
beans and all kind of stuff and chickpeas. And so you learn different things. And I always say, you may not do what you learn, but you can't unlearn what you have learned. It's got to be there, and you're gonna have to go right through the knowledge that you learned to get to that other side of being who you used to be. So
Yeah.
that knowledge just don't fade. We just fight through it.
I love it. That was I love it. Thank you so much. That was great. And by the way, before I forget, not all pasta's bad. So you want some pasta, Lorraine? You like pasta?
Well, I really don't eat that much pasta, but sometimes um, when you're at our age, I'm just learning what it means to be in retirement and to live from a budget that I am not used to living from,
Hmm.
right?
Gotcha.
So, what I make in a month, I used to make more than that every 2 weeks. So, now coming to this, and so sometimes you got to eat what's in the house,
That's right.
and that's what I did. And when I replace it, I'll replace it with something that I know better. Right now, it was what was in the house, and I'm just grateful for both of you guys. If I could say
Yeah.
to both of you that since I have um, been on this journey with you guys through Transformation 21 to gut health to eat clean, cook clean, live clean, that I've come to a place of making better decisions. Now, I'm not 100% always there, you know,
It's a
but
journey.
I'm telling you, I am not who I used to be. You cannot
Amen.
convince me to put some stuff in my mouth that I used to put in my mouth. You just can't convince me to do it no more. And
Amen.
so I'm still getting there. But I'm like Minister Tangi said. She said, I want to try the natural way because I have a mindset. She said, a
That's it.
mindset to
That's
Yes.
work
it.
on this physical. She said, I still need to be delivered. Girl, listen. She said,
You
she
can
still
be
need to be delivered
delivered.
from ice cream. Contact Chef Marlene. She'll tell you what to do to make your own ice cream.
There you go. There you
Okay,
go.
and I'm telling you, I made some stuff with some dates. Listen, let me let me just tell you, you can still get that sensation of chocolate, of sweet, but in a healthy way. I'm telling
Yes.
you, and it
Yes.
doesn't take long for you to do it. I'm
And
telling you.
thank you for saying that. It doesn't take long because that's the other thing is people have to realize most people that only eat what Food Babylon has to offer, you don't really know what real food tastes like. So even in this journey, your palate will change. And just like Lorraine said, it won't take long. When you start to really taste food and what it really tastes like, your body will start to crave it. Your body will be like, what? And you'll literally start to crave it. Huge difference. I mean, I used to be like an ice cream lover. Like before I changed my whole, lifestyle, ice cream was conventional ice cream was my thing. I still eat ice cream. I don't eat the conventional ice cream. In fact, a few years ago, I forget where I was, and I said, let me just taste, because I hadn't had conventional ice cream in so long. It tastes like cardboard to me. Literally, I was just like, oh my goodness. This doesn't, it tastes like something artificial, because now I'm so used to ice cream alternatives or making my own ice cream or natural things where you can really taste the food that God made for us.
Yeah.
Donna, can I address a comment?
Yes.
Um, Minister Tangi said, let me go back to it. I'm sorry, I stepped out of it for a minute. I think she made a comment. She loves pasta, but pasta doesn't love her. She says she's allergic to wheat, pasta, bread, and oats. Here's the thing, you can have something, I guess I can say the name of the pasta. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it
Yes.
in the comment. But there are pastas that you can have that are um, don't have
The gluten.
the gluten. Yes, and this particular pasta does not have the gluten, and it is not stripped of the natural germ. That's what we're getting. Anything that says enriched, put it back on the shelf.
There you go.
The first thing you pick up and it says, look at the first five ingredients of anything. When you go, and you've heard me say this a lot, those that follow me, read your ingredients, read the labels, anything, and I'm sure that she does, does this, but for anybody else, enriched, sugar, vegetable oil, canola oil, read your ingredients before you consume it or put it in your cart. But
Yeah.
there are pastas that you can really really enjoy, and still have a wonderful meal, and it won't
That's
fight you back.
that is
That's
true. That is
yes.
so true. I have a 9-year-old niece. She loves spaghetti, and I've been helping to raise her since she was 4 months old. And every Friday we have Spaghetti Friday. And do I eat it? Yes. Is it wheat? Nope. I buy brown rice pasta.
Hmm.
Okay. And so it doesn't have the gluten in it. I make her spaghetti every single Friday with brown rice pasta. She absolutely loves it. You can get lentil pasta. You can get chickpea
All
pasta.
kinds.
You can get all kinds of pasta that don't have the wheat. Maybe one day we can do a video on wheat and why that can be so detrimental to your health because of the gluten. And just so everybody understands, and I will just say this now because I never want to talk about wheat without saying this, is that the wheat that bothers us, the wheat that makes us sick, is not the wheat that God created. Okay? God did
Exactly.
not create anything bad for us. God created wheat. I mean, just think about how many times the word bread is used in the Bible. So bread isn't bad when it's made with the wheat that God created for us. But all of the modern wheat today is genetically modified. And that's why we have so many health problems. So the wheat that's on the market today, it's genetically modified and it has 49 chromosomes. Okay. The wheat that God created has 14. Big difference. Just like the GLP stays in our system for 1 to 3 minutes that God created, the GLP-1 drugs stay in our system for 2 to 4 weeks. So again, when things get into the body and are working in a way that God did not design it to work for our body, that's when we have the problem. But there are growing alternatives to wheat. Yeah, actually, we need to do a thing on wheat because I think people really need to understand that, because people, when they see things like, they say, well, I'm not gluten sensitive. And I'm like, how do you know? How do you know? Just like Lorraine and talked about in the beginning. Did you know that gluten causes inflammation in the brain. And because we don't have those pain receptors in our brain, if it's causing inflammation in your brain, you will never feel it, but can also accelerate the process of mental disorders as we age, like dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And you would never be able to connect it back to the wheat. Again, like Lorraine mentioned, things you won't be able to connect back later.
Yeah. Donna, I'm telling you, I keep saying that I think I'm gluten sensitive. Because if I eat bread, if I eat like it really it does. I know I'm allergic to soy because if you give me
Mhm.
soy sauce, you might as well would have put something up to my head and just blew it out because
Wow.
you would ask me, "What is your name?" and I would sit here like, "Give me a minute." Like it
Wow.
does something to my brain really, really bad, and I mean just a
Wow.
little bit. So I do
Wow.
amino, yeah, coconut aminos. I don't do soy sauce.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I was on something before and it was a lot of soy in that product. And it was just making me sick. It kept me bloated and I wasn't using the bathroom. It was horrible. Like my
Yeah.
body reacted horribly to that. And like I said, just a little soy sauce would set me off. And it takes a while for me to come back to myself.
Wow.
It's really bad.
Wow. That is so crazy. Wow. Yeah. And I agree with you. I'm not a soy person either. I don't, it's not something that I recommend. And most of the soy on the market is genetically modified as well, you know. So I don't know. But anyway, hopefully this has been helpful for those of you that are watching. If you want to know about the product that we are talking about that has helped us, again, it helps with weight loss, appetite suppression, energy, gut health, digestion, healthy blood sugar management. And I'm telling you, it works, not just because I'm saying this and I tried it, and not just because Lorraine and Marlene are saying it. There's a lot of other women in this group. And if it's something that you're interested in, send me an email at hello@donnamarie21.com. Contact me and I will let you know and talk to you about it, see if it's something that you want to try. But again, the purpose is we're not here to promote a product. We're here to tell you that GLP-1 there's some dangerous things about those drugs, the GLP-1 drugs, that the doctors are not telling you that you need to know. And after knowing this information, if you decide that you want to try something else, that you don't want to take those risks, we're letting you know that there's something else we have that you can try. So hopefully everybody gets that. And again, we're doing this to help you be healthy and not be harmed. I mean, that is my mission, that is my passion, to help people live in wellness without fear. So that's all I have. I don't know if there's any more questions or comments that have come in.
No, it's the comments have been absolutely wonderful, and
Mhm.
um, I think we're all as Christians ready to do it God's way. I
Yes.
think that as we have trusted the pharmaceutical companies, we have trusted our government to make sure that our food is good, and we find out every single day that they are just doing the most, and that it's time for us to trust God. It is
Yeah.
time for us to trust God and to go back to His original intent for us,
Amen.
and so I believe he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. Let the church say
Amen.
it. So
Amen.
I'm excited about this conversation. I'm ready to do another 21-day gut reset to tell you the truth, hint, 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 because I've never felt better when I did that. And my mind was clear. Everything was it was wonderful. Inflammation gone, everything.
Well,
I
I
actually this weekend, I had some crabs. I love crabs.
Me
But
too.
I woke up this morning and almost my left side of my body is totally different from my right side. my leg is swollen, my arm is swollen. And so I realized that, sometimes when they season the crab, they season it a lot. And and it was probably too much. My body was no longer used to it. The last time I had crabs was in October. And so here it's May, and
Wow.
I had it, and I didn't have a lot, but it was enough to do a little damage to me.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Well, I would like to do another gut reset as well. And so, anybody watching, you're probably thinking about what are they
it's
talking about a gut
wonderful.
reset? So,
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God.
I think we did it. I can't remember whether it was 24 or 25. I think we did it in 24.
24?
Was it
Was it
24 or did we do it
24?
in
It was,
25? Did we
yeah.
just do it this past
25?
year?
It was 25.
It was 25?
Was it
Was it
25?
24?
I think
I
it
know.
may have been 20. Listen, we don't
I
know.
think it was 24.
24.
I could go back to the notes to see when you did
Yeah,
everything, but it
Yeah.
may have been
it was
I
last year,
24.
maybe
I think it
earlier
was
in the year.
24.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
24.
it was
Okay.
20.
It
Yeah.
was really, I think that gut reset really, it was wonderful.
I
It,
would
it
love to do it again.
needed.
And the good thing about it, for everyone that's watching, and one of the things that I put in the chat, the community with, um, there's a community room where you can post or not what you eat. You can show a picture, or you can just leave a comment. Um, the to, togetherness is what helps you. So you're not in it by yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you're not alone doing this. If you need help, you can say, I need help, and there's suggestions. And people are just sharing what they feel about taking this particular product. And it's been wonderful. I mean, I love the community. So you're not alone. You're not
Yes.
alone. You're
Thank
not
you
alone.
so much for saying that. And anybody that's interested, even though we are almost at the end, because on June 1st, I think is we have our last Zoom session, and we're going to talk about like the entire experience over the last 2 months. I'm going to keep the room open, like our discussion room. So anybody else that newly joined, you can actually join that discussion room. I'm going to keep it open so that we can continue to encourage one another. So that's another benefit. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Marlene. And also, Lorraine, regarding the gut health challenge that we did, I'm thinking we need to do another one. I'm thinking we
Yeah.
need to do another one, and probably in the fall, maybe like around October. So I think that's when
Okay.
we started, when we did it in 24. We did it right before the holidays. So you can get yourself in
Yes.
order before the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well,
think that's a good, I think we'll try to do that. And maybe we'll even incorporate this product as a tool for those who want or need it. So that's a great idea. So again, if you're watching this, if any of this interests you and you want to be involved in this group of ladies that are determined to be healthy, we're not only doing this in the Daughters of Destiny, but we also have a subgroup where we're doing teachings and getting together on Zoom outside of social media where you can engage with other people and ask questions directly as well. So, but I love doing
yes.
this. Thank you so much. So
Yes.
much.
So before we get off, I have two announcements. I just want to announce. Let me see how it will come up. Okay, so on Saturday, July the 18th from 11 to 2 p.m., our coach, Donna Caldwell, will be at Alive and Well brunch. And anybody that knows the lady in the middle, that is Pastor Angela King. It will be at her church on Route 130 in Pennsauken. And she is about empowering and really bringing the women leaders together to be able to be poured into. So please, if you have time, show up on Saturday, July 18th. And I'm not sure if we need to reach out to her, but those that know Pastor Angie, you can reach out to say, hey, listen, we're coming. Let's support our coach Donna Caldwell as she do her thing
Yes.
that day. And we are excited because you know what? The more we reach um, the people in the kingdom of God, the more we become healthier to go out and be great fishermen for God. And so the next thing is what's happening soon? Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
it's big news. Something delicious is coming your way. Chef Marlene, chickpea chick book cookbook is on its way. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out getting this cookbook. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, all with a can of chickpeas. In the day and time that we are living in, not knowing how our economy is going to twist or turn, I guarantee you're going to need this cookbook in your kitchen to prepare recipes from the heart made to nourish your soul. And I'm just so excited to know both of these women of God as they go. Yes, congratulations, go and do the work of the Lord. This is ministry. And I know sometimes it look like people are building platforms, but let me just tell you, these women are doing ministry because they were meant to be healing agents. And however, everybody don't is not laying hands on you, right? But they are teaching you how to maintain your deliverance, how to maintain your healing. And sometimes it is because of some of the things we put in our body. God can heal us, but how are we maintaining what He has done? They are teaching us how to put the right things in our bodies, how to maintain good gut health so we can have a clear brain. And as we get older, I'm going to tell you this, death is going to have to fight for me. I'm not going to give up that way. I'm not just going to give up because I want to put anything in my body. And I wish I would have known earlier, but I know now. And I
Amen.
still struggle with my knowing. But I tell you this one thing, it's going to, unless God says it's time, I will not give in to the spirit of death with premature death. I'm going to
Amen.
live my life as God has designed me to live. And I pray that you do the
Amen.
same.
Amen.
Any
I
last
love
comments
that.
or are we good? Thank you guys so much for joining Covenant Wellness with Donna Caldwell. I hope to see you in July, on July 18th. And be on the lookout because the chickpea chick is coming your way. Have a blessed day. God bless you
Amen.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.